Welcome back to the base of Beaver Creek with my favorite ski instructor, Coker Baldwin. What are you doing?
Well, I saw something over there and I had to go investigate.
I don't think that's it at all. I think really what you're doing, you're just trying to throw me off my game.
That is the game. Before the camera goes on, we always try and play with each other a little bit. But you did quite well.
For now. We'll see what the rest of the interview holds. Okay, so Coker, being part of ski school, this is something where, I mean, really, like Ivy League of ski school here at Beaver Creek. And, you know, there's a lot that goes on in a lesson besides just like ordering people around, right?
Yes, exactly. There is more to it.
There is. Now, you've been doing this for quite a while. And so for people that haven't taken a lesson before, maybe they're like, oh, I don't know if it's really the right thing for me. Can we just kind of go through like what some of the things are that you kind of pick up on as an instructor, and some of the things you can really kind of help tailor people's day with as somebody that has your experience?
That's so important. You know, it's behind the scenes kind of discussion and what goes on with an instructor first thing in the morning. And a lot of the things is first thing we do is, of course, check the weather, because the weather changes all the time. So we need to know how we're going to dress, but we need to know how to suggest to our guests how to dress. A lot of folks will see that it's going to be beautiful and they don't show up with quite the right amount of equipment. So we have a fun one that we've actually been trained on. It's Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's extremely important to us to make sure that the guest is completely happy and focused on what we're saying, focused on having a great time, and then focus on the lesson itself. If you're cold, if you're hungry, if you're tired, you're not going to get your money's worth.
That makes a lot of sense, and I think we've probably all been there in school at some point where you're just like, you're not even focused because you are just hungry or and I went back when I was teaching snowboarding. I used to call it snowboard belly. Like people would, you know, maybe they'd eat the wrong thing or they'd like be so weighed down it would just be kind of like one of these after lunch.
Oh yeah, has anybody had that big old cheeseburger at lunch? Exactly. And next thing you know, you're like, oh boy. But what's good is it helps you on the race course. You can go a little bit faster, a little bit more eating.
Right. So you're really making sure that people are comfortable out there, that they're going to have the best time possible. And then, you know, some of the things that that you really do in the lesson is, you know, you provide that kind of personalized attention. You can really kind of get into the details of what somebody can do to kind of help change their performance on the slopes.
Very true, very true. One, we're always gauging where they are mentally. We're always asking lots of questions and see how you're reacting, whether we're getting eye contact or you're kind of starting to phase out a little bit. From there, we decide which slope we're going to go down. What is the best thing to work on at this point in time? So we mesh the students' desires for the lesson, and we put them in with what we think will work with them best at that point in view. And that's what's great, and that's where the training comes from in these instructors. You know, I got to tell you, someone was asking me just the other day, they're like, okay, you're done with lessons. And I said, no, absolutely not. We're still training as instructors. So there is still that learning curve, and it's like a pyramid. It's a little bit more, less and less major direction, but a lot more just pointers. So everybody's being trained. There's all that background that goes into it. And then just for the fact of, my favorite is you never know what you're going to get in an instructor. We have such great, phenomenal backgrounds. We have instructors who teach all over the world. We have instructors who teach all year round. They go down to Chile and New Zealand during our summers. And a lot of these folks are retirees. They come from, they're CEOs of major companies throughout the U.S. It's funny because there's a who's who out there. We also have old ski racers and all that. And I don't mean to say old, I mean past. They are retired. But it's so fun because you never know what you're going to get. But I just want everybody to know that there's so much behind the scenes before we actually walk into a lesson.
There you go. So much that goes into it. They really can assess exactly what it is that you need to make sure that your skiing and riding is at its best. How do people book a lesson?
Best way is you can call in. It's your desire. If you would like to go in on the Beaver Creek website, beavercreek.com, that's one of the easiest ones. Answers a lot of questions as you're going in there. They'll have the phone number, that 877 number for you to call. That's a great one to go in and just get a human voice. But for me personally, I like to show up and walk in and see all the smiling faces because everybody's so interested in telling you about our products because there's so many different products out there.
There are. Well, book a lesson today. You're going to love it. And right now we have to check in with Mark and see what's happening with that local weather forecast.